Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? I'm Greg. I'm on the partnerships team here at Attentive, and very excited to introduce our next speakers. We've got two people that came here from the UK to talk to you guys today and do a nice fireside chat. Very excited to introduce Ivan with Ometria and Lucy with Astrid and Miu.
Thank you very much. Do you know what? I don't even know what slides we have. I'm going to leave that with you.
Fair enough.
And if somebody wants to click, we're set. Hello. Oh my God, this is very bright. Are there some people? I see some people. I think we've got people. Cool. We are going to talk about agile marketing strategies, and it is a crazy old world that we're living in today. How's my mic? Hello? Yeah, good. The 2020 started in an absolutely insane way. We had a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. We're not expecting for any of it. Stores started to get shut down. Physical brands that had been operating for decades, if not hundreds of years, suddenly had to learn how to do e-commerce. D2C brands, I'm guessing many of you here, D2C brands, had probably the best time ever. Suddenly everybody was at home and shopping and just buying stuff. E-com was great. Then we had 2021, crypto mania, people buying digital monkeys. Anyone have an NFT here? No? Wrong audience? Okay, let's keep moving. People making crazy amounts of paper money, meme stocks, whatever that is. Everybody's thinking the great times are going to go on forever. Lots of spending money, consumer spending through the roof. Fantastic for D2C brands. And then the pandemic ended. Or at least, I think it ended. Nobody's told us if it's ended, but none of us are wearing masks. So I'm guessing we all agree that it's kind of ended. And as soon as that happened, e-commerce revenues started to plummet. Because people told us, after COVID, we're going to have a permanent digitization. It's done. Everyone is going to be all over e-commerce. We're never going to a store again. It turns out that we're human beings. We quite like spending time with each other here in a room. We quite like buying from real people. Then we start hearing about this crazy thing called inflation. First we hear about it somewhere in the financial press, then in the real press, then from your friends, then from your colleagues, then in the business where apparently costs are going up and manufacturing is expensive and how we get the product over and everything else. Suddenly that gets complicated. And then the financial markets collapse. And we're all sitting there looking at our kind of 10%, 30-year mortgage thinking, well, what the hell are we going to do with this? How are we going to operate? Each one of these individual things would have been a once-in-a-decade event that would require a whole company to stop and replan their entire strategy. And it would take months and months and months to replan that strategy. But these are not once-a-decade events for us anymore. These are events that are happening to us every couple of months. Every couple of months there is another one of those, and guess what? We don't have time to take a step back and replan our whole entire strategy the way that we used to. It's just not going to work. There are too many of these things coming, and it's clearly not going to stop. I don't know if anyone here thinks that we're through all of this, but my personal take is no one knows how the coming quarters are going to play out. The Fed doesn't know. The Bank of England doesn't know. The professional economists have no idea what they're doing. How are the rest of us going to have any chance of preparing, working it out? Are we going to get inflation down? Is consumer spending going to come back? Have we all taken out too much credit card debt, and is that going to come crashing down like 2007? There is a lot of uncertainty. The uncertainty is not going away. That's my personal bet, and that means that really the world has fundamentally changed, and we have to change with it if we are going to survive. If you're a marketer, hands up, who's a marketer here? Is a direct-to-consumer marketer? Okay, fantastic. If you're a marketer at a retail brand right now, I bet you're being told by management that you have to do more with less. Anyone hearing that message? Okay, there we go, right? So that is the message right now. The thing is, as a CRM marketer, you actually have the power, and you're probably the only person in the entire business that has the ability to do that. In a direct-to-consumer business anyway. All the other types of marketing are very expensive. Hey, I want to do more with Google marketing. Great, give Google more money and you'll do more with Google marketing. Cost of CRM is basically fixed. You have already bought your customer data and marketing platform that you use to orchestrate all of your campaigns. Like Ometria, if you haven't, then you should go and buy one. You've already bought your text marketing platform like Attentive. If not, you should go and buy one. The point is, you've already paid for it. You have it. The variable costs are basically free. Push notifications, free. Emails, pretty much free. Text messages, kind of close to free, right? You can do a lot with what you've got No other department in the entire business can. You are unique as a CRM marketer being able to do that. And then it comes down to, well, wait, what are customers actually going to respond to? That suddenly becomes the question. Sure, we've got the platform and we've got the ability to do it, but in today's world, what worked last month is no longer going to work because 3 crises would have happened in that time. So suddenly we're sitting here trying to work out every month, every week, every day, what is it that I need to do today in this exact moment in order to drive real, genuine, high margin purchases, transactions from loyal customers, not customers that are going to come once with a discount and disappear, genuine loyal customers that come back. And yes, you need a technology stack to be able to do that. You need a platform that helps you execute those campaigns in a fraction of the time, because the old approach of taking 8 weeks to do a campaign isn't going to cut it. You need full visibility into your data, your customer data, in order to be able to surface the insights to make the strategy. And if you want to talk about any of that, come and see us. We've got a stand, we're Emetria. But much more importantly, you need a new mindset, you need a new approach, and that is what we're here to talk about today. I'm Ivan, I'm CEO and founder of Emetria. We're a customer data and marketing platform. We, for the last 10 years, have helped over 200 retail brands, large established brands like Steve Madden, fast growth, up and coming brands like Astrid & Mew. We help them identify and execute the best retention strategies across all the channels that matter, keeping customers loyal, keeping them coming back, irrespective of what environment they're operating in. With me today, I have Lucy Kemish, Global CRM Manager at Astrid & Mew, a brand we've worked with for over 6 years, I think. Very proud to have been on that journey together. She has led many CRM teams in large businesses, in small businesses, in slow businesses, in agile businesses. We're about to hear about all of that. Lucy, the floor is yours. Maybe start by introducing yourself, sharing a bit about you.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Thank you for a great introduction. So, yeah, I'm the Senior CRM Manager at Astrid & Mew. So I've been there for almost 2 years now. But previous to that, I'd worked in very big brands, usually apparel retailers. So I was very used to kind of the DTC setup. So I'd worked for Ralph Lauren, Reiss, Kurt Geiger. The latter two are very big in the UK. I don't know how big they are here in the US, but I was in very big teams, and actually at Ralph Lauren I was in a really, really big CRM team. So I had to kind of work in a certain way with big processes, with a lot of stakeholders, and I got used to a very particular way of working. And after doing that for a few years, I thought, I don't want to do this anymore. I've had enough of all of these huge processes and loads of stakeholders I have to deal with. I want to try something new, and I really want to grow my own personal career, and that's what led me to Astrid & Mew. So it's a very, I guess, up-and-coming, fast-growing business, and it's very fast-paced, and we have to be very agile with what we're doing.
I'd love to ask you a bit about the brand. So I think it's possible that some of the audience, I know you have a store here in the US in New York, but it's possible for some of the audience that haven't come across Astrid & Mew. How would you describe the brand? What's the kind of origin story?
Yeah, of course. So it was started 10 years ago, so it was our 10th birthday this year, which is a huge brand moment. And it was started by our founder and CEO, Connie, and it was started from her flat in Notting Hill. So we've got a great backstory, but essentially she saw a gap in the market for contemporary jewellery that was at an affordable price and was accessible to people like her. So we sell semi-fine jewellery online and in our stores, so across London, the UK, and most recently in New York, which is so exciting. I'm going to visit the store tomorrow and I can't wait to see it. It's down in Soho. But yeah, that's essentially how it started. So we sell this kind of semi-fine jewellery, and then back in 2018, Connie saw a gap in the market for actually offering piercings. So there wasn't anywhere in London where you could go and get a piercing that was in a nice environment, in a lovely pink studio with beautiful jewellery. So she launched this and it had a great demand. So then we launched it across all of our stores and we were getting fully booked to these appointments. So then on the back of that, we launched tattoos and solid gold welded bracelets. So a really big part of our business now is actually appointment side and that in-store experience that we offer. So I guess the appointments go hand in hand with our product offering. It all stacks together. And that's where we're at the moment, and we're growing really quickly and it's really exciting.
It's an incredible evolution. You've evolved your product offering, you've evolved your geographies. I think you're going to go beyond. I'd love to ask you maybe share a little bit about what we're here to talk about agile marketing strategies. Right now that's so key. What was it like having your role at those larger companies And then what is it like right now in
Yeah.
the kind of fast up and coming agile environment that you're in?
Yeah, so it's very different now to when I worked in these much larger companies. I'm sure some of you guys are from much larger companies and you know how it is with big sign-off processes, and perhaps you want to launch a new initiative and it's really hard to get it signed off. You have to business case it. So back when I was working for Ralph Lauren, for example, it would take us 8 weeks to turn around a broadcast email, which is absolutely nuts. Like, I could not be agile at all. I could not be reactive. I was working within this really big machine. And I loved working at Ralph Lauren. I learned so much there. It's a brilliant brand to work for, but it really limited my growth because I had to work within these processes. And then I went to Reiss and it was similar. There was a really crazy sign-off process there. There's method behind it though. I understand why they did it. But now that I'm at Astrid and Miu, we don't have these big processes and we don't have loads of stakeholders. It's more about trust in the teams. So essentially, we've kind of swapped out big processes for trust and putting trust in the people to make the right decisions. So now I find myself really drawing on past experience and intuition to make decisions and make them quickly rather than thinking, oh, I'm caught up in this big process. I can't launch new things. I can't do that because of X, Y, and Z. There's no barriers now. So I feel a lot freer and I feel a lot more inspired actually to do more, which is a great position to be in.
Was that trust something that you came into and it was already there in place? Was that trust that you earned with the CEO? Did you have to push that through? Did you have pushback?
Yeah, so it's kind of something that was already intrinsic within the brand. So a really good friend of mine already worked for the brand. She's our paid media manager. She heads up that side of the business. And she was always telling me about how brilliant it was and how empowered she was within her role. So I kind of knew what I was coming into. And, they interviewed me. It was a very comprehensive interview. They understood what my skill set was and they had trust and belief in me. Then it was kind of like, okay, here's the role, run with it. And I had to kind of learn to thrive in that environment. Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, in a world where you can create physical product, right? So fashion from data to being on the shelf in 4 weeks. I mean, majority of kind of fast fashion can do it in 4 weeks. To take 8 weeks to create an email campaign, and then not even like I'm guessing, particularly complex email campaign. It was just a broadcast email.
Yeah.
Like that's insane. It just doesn't make sense. Was it in any way challenging to adapt to this approach once you actually started and found yourself with all the trust?
Yes, I mean, I didn't adapt overnight.
Okay.
It was a process. I found it quite hard at the start to not have all of those processes. I had to kind of figure out what I wanted the processes to be and how we worked. So I had to adapt quickly though. So I knew that like, this is the situation I'm in. This is how the business operates. I just need to learn to thrive in it and get on with it. So yeah, I think moving to any new role, it takes time to adjust to any new business. But this was kind of shock to the system. Now I see the other side of it and I see the light and it's all for the greater good. So yeah.
Do you remember a moment or anything that comes to mind in those first kind of early days where you were like, ooh, this is really cool, or oh my God, what have I got myself into? Can I go back to my safe space of 8 weeks?
Me, it all feels like a long time ago now. I think I started in the CRM team as it was just myself and an associate. It was just the two of us, so very lean team. And I discovered that she was building the emails the day that they were going out. And the design team were designing them just the day before. We didn't have a copywriter. So there was all these kind of like red flags of stuff that wasn't meant to happen that way. But I think that allowed me to kind of see where the gaps were, see where the opportunities were, and I could quite quickly figure out better processes and ways of working. And that's really like reflective in the results now, which is brilliant.
I mean, I can definitely relate to that. Imagine coming in and being like, what, you're building it now, last minute, 2
Yeah.
hours before it goes
Very
out?
stressful,
Like, that's very stressful. Very, very, very stressful. I mean, I'd love to get into some practicalities. Hopefully we can share some experiences that you've had. What was the last big experiment or experimental strategy, or, in a sort of this concept of a kind of agile strategy, something specific that you did at Astrid and Miu?
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest experimental thing that we've done recently is launching our store in New York. It's a massive thing for the brand, and it didn't just come out of nowhere. A lot of experimentation, to say, happened before that. So as a brand, we'd run a lot of pop-ups in the past. So we'd seen a really strong appetite online from the US. So we thought, okay, let's run a pop-up in New York. We'll see if the customers like our product. We'll see if they like the piercing situation. And it happened to be a huge success. And we didn't actually tweak too much to the market. We didn't change our product offering or our marketing around it. It was kind of like, we've done this in the UK before, it worked. We're going to try it in the US now. So it was a big success. We thought, okay, we'll try this again. Is it like a one-off that it was a success, or is there that appetite there? And then we did it again and it was a success. And that's kind of what led to opening our store. But I think the experimental side of it is we're very authentic to what we believe in as a brand and how we want to represent our products and ourselves. So we didn't tweak too much when we opened the store in the US. We didn't think, oh, what are our competitors doing? How do we need to look for the US customer? We just used what we knew worked in the UK and we brought that over to the US. So it's quite risky in a sense, but it's working really well. And I think the way that we gather insights and we're very agile in terms of marketing strategy has allowed it to grow and so far be very successful.
I mean, it sounds like, so the first concept I'm really picking up is that of trust, and if that doesn't exist in the company, you can't be agile at all. But then secondly, you stay true to your belief, but you did it in multiple steps. So, e-commerce orders first, then pop-ups, then store, and at every stage, I guess you were able to validate using the data that coming back that actually that authentic Astronom U brand was going to resonate in the US.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing if the data come back with no purchases from the pop-up, there would have been
a big red flag.
New plan of action there. Are you doing something similar now with other countries? What comes after the US?
Yeah, so as well as focusing on US expansion, we're really trying to focus on expansion within Europe as well. So again, we were getting direct feedback from our customers, not just this online appetite, but through surveys and on social channels that there's an appetite for the EU. So earlier this year, we ran a pop-up again, but in Berlin. That same setup, that same kind of muscle memory, like we've done it before, we'll do it again, we'll roll it out, we'll see how it goes. It was really successful. We hosted some piercing parties in some luxurious hotels. That worked really well. So now we're going back again in November to see if it works again. But we're also popping up in Paris next week, which is super exciting, just to see how do we resonate with those French and Parisian customers. And we'll learn from each pop-up, right? We'll learn what works, what doesn't work, what people are asking for, what product types they're interested in. So, for example, in Germany, in Berlin, we noticed that there was a really strong appetite for our solid gold offering. And there wasn't a lot of kind of hesitancy around cost. So now in our CRM, we know that we can push a higher price point to them. So it sounds very basic, but it's actually been really powerful for us. And it's worked really well.
Although it's basic, it's actually relatively complex. You're doing multi-geography physical data collection, if you think about it, and then powering that back into a central place to be able to power digital campaigns in a personalized way.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, relatively simple, okay, the Germans are comfortable spending more money. On the other hand, actually getting that in place and working at the level that you're working required a completely different approach and mindset to the majority of companies. The majority of companies, I'm guessing your previous businesses would have spent a year trying to get that kind of insight and then another year maybe implementing something to act on it.
Exactly, yeah. So we're implementing things really, really quickly. So an example is on our trade call every week with our US trade call, we have the store manager on the call with us. So she's giving me direct insight every week on what her customers are asking for, what they're talking about, and then we're able to then implement that in our marketing strategy. So an example of that is in London, with our appointments, customers will book months in advance. They seem to be very organised, they know what they want, but also we're more established there, right? So they get booked up quicker. But what we were finding in the New York store was people would just walk by and think, oh, I want a piercing. I just want to walk in and get an appointment. They hadn't booked. So with that intel, we started to switch our book your appointment strategy, which we have for the UK, to why not just walk in? And we actually used Attentive SMS for that because it was a very quick channel to turn that around for. So the day that she mentioned this, we were sending out an SMS talking about walk-ins, and then we're able to trigger that whenever there's a quiet day. So again, very simplistic, but I think it's a good use of the channel. yeah, and it's working.
That's amazing. So that's a very specific campaign you're talking about. So quite literally in a day from the trading call, where you got the insight that actually behavior here is different. The behavior is not about pre-booking. We do like to pre-book stuff over
Yeah,
the UK.
we're very organised in the UK.
Yeah, it sounds like New York is far more agile when it comes to that. You were able to execute and implement a campaign straight away within that day and get it out there.
Yeah.
Incredible. What about being experimental when you don't have insights? Is there, are there scenarios that you faced, or do you have an approach when maybe that data isn't coming in that way?
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken about this already, but I think it's about having that qualitative data over quantitative all the time, so having that direct feedback. But I think you're not always going to have the data there if you're trying to be experimental or launch new things. So I think sometimes there's area for risk and there's areas not to have the risk. So for example, for Black Friday, Cyber Monday this year, we're not rolling out bespoke kind of strategies for the US and the EU. We're just mimicking what we're doing on a global basis to see how it goes. And then that's where we'll gather our data insights. So that's, I guess, a less risk-averse way about it. But I think what it will do is we'll then gather all of that insight and we'll have it for next year. So there's certain areas where I think you can...
There's a time and a place.
Yes, exactly.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah.
There is definitely a time for a 1-year cycle, and it sounds like if the sale is such a core important part, like if the peak season is vital for the business, probably not one to mess around with.
Yes,
basically.
definitely not.
Definitely.
Too much at stake.
Yeah. How are you setting yourself up so that the experimentation, the agility, isn't just optimizing for the short term, but actually does achieve long-term success as well as just immediate impact?
Yeah, I mean, when I started the business, I spent kind of 6 months figuring out what data we had, where it was coming from, what data points we had, what we needed, where the gaps were, and we're still kind of on that journey, but we're essentially trying to set ourselves up now so we have as much data on the customer as possible, and that's what's going to set us up long term. Because the more you know about the customer, the better you can market to them, and then the stickier they become, right? So something we're doing at the moment is we have all of these appointments, and it's a massive part of our business, but we're not syncing that data into Emetria. So we're working with Emetria at the moment with our appointments tech people to get that data into Emetria. So I guess my goal over the last 6 months has been, what can we get into Emetria? What can we see on the customer? Because that's going to totally change the lifetime value of a customer, the view of a customer. Like if we know that someone's shopped online, but actually they've had 5 appointments with us, they're a really valuable customer. But at the moment, we're just seeing that they've shopped online with us once. Yeah. So I think marrying up all those data points is how you'll set yourself up for the long term.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. The holistic view is going to pay dividends for many, many years to come. It takes time to build. It's hard. A lot of tech platforms involved, but they're all solvable and they're all pluggable. And once you have that profile and you have that understanding, are there any things that you see coming up, any uncertainties coming up, which make you worried and concerned about being agile? Is there anything that you see in your team at the moment? You obviously spoke about peak season at the moment and Black Friday, but how do you approach other elements of kind of risk aversity versus agile experimentation?
Yeah, I think it's about being authentic to yourself as a brand, knowing what works, but also having trust in the right areas. So your customers need to trust you. That's the most important thing. But also you need to have trust in your team, but also trust in your tech partners. So I know that I can fully trust you guys at Emetria. We've worked with you for a long time. So I know that if I'm trying to roll out something that's a bit experimental, a bit new, you guys are there to help guide me through that. And the better our relationship, the more kind of you'll know what's coming anyway. So I think it does come back to trust in those different areas and just, really building upon that.
Yeah, it's definitely, in an old world, I guess, technology was something you buy and then kind of cross your fingers and then try and work out how to use. It does seem, with great businesses like Attentive and so on, the right technology companies become a partner. They start to support you and you work together to create these, incredibly compelling moments, hopefully for many, many years to come. Maybe one final, how are we doing for time? One final question, then we'll do some Q&A. do you have any exciting future plans that you are comfortable sharing? Any exciting experiment or campaign that you are about to launch? Really excited about?
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a massive one, but I'm quite excited about it. So we partnered with Attentive a few months ago. So this is our first peak season with them. So I'm super excited for that. But we're going to roll out a two-way conversational gift guide. So this is something we typically do on email, like gift guide emails. But this year we're going to try and gather data. So I guess voluntary kind of preference data from our customers, asking them who they're shopping for. So then we can then deliver tailored comms to them. But then at the same time, we're finding out who they're shopping for. So then we're extending that kind of relationship. So as I'm sure a lot of you have the same issue, there's a lot of one-time shoppers in my database, and we don't know why. A lot of them are probably gifters, and we don't know who they shopped for, but I'm hoping this season we can kind of start to figure out and fill that gap of data of who people are shopping for. So, for example, this Christmas, there might be people shopping for their mum. If we find that out, we've then got that opportunity to remarket to them on Mother's Day next year.
Nice.
So we've got that better chance of, like, I guess, the lifetime value of the customer. So yeah, I'm quite excited about that. And yeah, the thing that we're doing with our appointment data at the moment, I think is really exciting for me. But yeah, loads of new stuff's happening constantly. We launched our new website this week.
Today, I think?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah. So yeah, that's been a big thing.
Check it out. Check it out now. Let's see if it works.
Yeah. So yeah, it's an exciting time.
Very, very cool. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can get a whole bunch of insight into customers through AI, and sometimes you just need to ask them with a text message. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, anything that anybody would like to ask Lucy? We've got a question over there.
Hi, yeah, my question is specifically for Lucy. My name's Olivia, and I work for Jack Rogers. Can you give a little bit of detail about how you all started getting into pop-up shops before you had your fully launched brick-and-mortar stores?
Yeah, so this was kind of before my time at the business, so I'll speak to what I know here. But it was basically from seeing a demand online, so orders coming from certain areas, and then the brand marketing team being like, okay, we need to pop up in that area and see what we can do. So that's, I guess it's quite an organic thing, and it's quite a normal way of running pop-ups. You want to test the area outright and see how it does. So yeah, that's how it kind of came to fruition. That's a really good question. I don't know the answer, but I can find out for you and get back to you, because our events team and brand marketing team will definitely know. Yeah, we ran 2 in New York back in 2019. Yeah. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Hannah. Wondering if you can share how you compare your qualitative data to your quantitative data you guys collect from in-store.
Yeah, so it's very basic at the moment. It's literally just us on our trade call with our store manager, and it's me like feeding it back to the CRM team, and then they're implementing it into strategy. So it's not a really big thing. It's not like a big data collection thing, but something that we do is NPS surveys, and that's a really good way to gather feedback. So we every quarter will ask our database how likely they are to recommend us to someone else, and what they think of us as a brand. But there's also a section there for comments, so we'll see things in there like, you need to improve your shipping, or please can you pop up in Paris, which is actually something that came up. So that's a good way of gathering that data. And we also do it at checkout to find out where people have come from. So it's a good way of kind of gauging, have people come through referral? Have they found us on Instagram? So it's just having those touch points, I think, throughout the journey where you can gather that qualitative data, which is essential.
Hi, I'm Suze Pazzo. I'm with Spoonflower. We're a global e-commerce company for fabric, wallpaper, and home decor. Thank you so much for your talk today. My question is really about geolocation. So we launched with Attentive a year ago. We are US text-based right now, but we have customers in a lot of the other geos that Attentive offers. So I wanted to know your strategy on how you approach the different geo segments that you're in, if you tailor language, if you tailor kind of the offers? What are you doing that's different, or what are you testing that's the same?
Yeah, so for email, we definitely split this out really kind of granularly. So for example, with our US comms, we'll of course adapt the spelling, that kind of thing, little things that really make a difference, because there's different, spellings for English words for the US. But for SMS, we're just kind of doing UK and US at the moment. We haven't split it out in terms of regions within the US or the UK, so I think there's definitely opportunity for that. But we're just an English-speaking brand. We don't split out by different languages, but I think as we grow into Europe more, there will be that need to launch in German, French, Italian. So yeah, I think that's something that's probably on the cards for us soon.
Hi, my name's Anna. I work for a company called Styx, and we sell products for vaginal health and sexual health. And I had a question about when you were expanding into the US, how did you go about establishing brand loyalty and brand affinity? Because I feel like here there's a lot of other places to get piercings and jewelry from.
Yeah, it's a really good question. And we have a lot of competitors in the US, and it's a completely different competitor set to what we have in the UK. I think we're just going back to what I was saying about authenticity. We have really strong brand values, and we try and kind of push that through in our marketing campaigns. So I think our campaigns are quite unique. But we already had that existing US database because we were seeing customers shop from us from the US online. So it was a matter of, I guess, starting to speak to them in a slightly different way and letting them know that we had a store in New York, and doing press events as well and brand marketing events alongside that. So our brand marketing team is fantastic, and they've been over here doing all sorts of things with influencers and events and that kind of thing. So I think it's a multiple-pronged thing, isn't it? You have to go at it at all angles, and it takes time. It's not something that just happens overnight. You launch a store and you have this amazing set of customers. It takes time, and we've actually just launched our loyalty program in store, which I think will really help for brand advocacy and hopefully retention, because they can actually get points on all of their purchases with us. So it gives the store teams I guess, a talking point with the customer and a reason for that customer to come back if they know that they're earning points or money with the brand. So yeah, I think there's a few different things that you'd have to go at it from.
Any other questions? I actually can't see.
It's very bright, isn't it?
It's very bright. It's looking like we might be at time. Okay, well, thank you very much for sharing your story. Hopefully, given some great inspirational ideas that people can take away. We'll be around. You'll be around for a bit,
Yeah,
right?
we'll be around,
If
yeah.
anyone wants to come and have a chat. Let's have a great evening. Go and have a party.
Thanks, everyone.